Good day everyone, my name is Aisha Fade de la Cruz from BSIHM Hatlo 2Y15, and today I will be presenting on Raiders of the SULU Sea, focusing on slave raiding activities of the Muslim tribes in the southern Mindanao and how brutal it is. The slave raiding activities of Muslim tribes in the southern Mindanao were motivated by a combination of economic, political, and cultural factors. The practice was driven by demand for labor, particularly for agricultural work and domestic service, and the communities controlled by the Moro Sultanates. Slaves were a valuable asset, providing not only economic benefits but also symbolic status, as the number of slaves a person owned indicated their wealth and power. This economic necessity was intertwined with the broader political structure of the Sultanates of Sulu and Maguindanao, which used slave raiding as a tool to strengthen their political control and maintain their dominance in the region. One of the most brutal aspects of the raids was the method used to capture and subdue the victims. The Muslim raiders employed deceptive tactics to gain the trust of their targets, pretending to be fishermen or traders. They lured unsuspecting villagers in their false sense of security, only to turn on them once they had captured them. This premeditated deceit made the raids especially traumatic for the victims, who were often unaware of their impending fate until it was too late. The physical abuse inflicted on the captives was also severe. One particularly horrific practice was puncturing of the palms of the captives with a hole, through which a thick string was inserted and tied. This was done to ensure that the captives could not escape, and the practice was so brutal that it not only caused intense physical pain but also symbolized the total loss of autonomy. By marking their victims in this way, the raiders effectively dehumanized them, reducing them to mere objects of the property. Furthermore, the practice of slave raiding occurred long before the arrival of Western colonial powers in the Philippines, and was, in fact, legally sanctioned with the cultural and political contents of the time. The Moro Sultanates, especially in Sulu and Maguindanao, legitimized the practice, seeing it as a vital part of their socio-economic and military strategies. Slaves were not only a source of labor but also a way for the sultanates to assert their dominance over neighboring regions and maintain control over resources. Despite the brutality, it is important to understand that the practice of slave raiding was also a reflection of the socio-economic and political realities of the time. These activities were not isolated to the Muslim tribes in Mindanao, but were part of a larger system of slavery that existed throughout Southeast Asia. Slavery was widely practiced, and slave trading was a recognized part of the regional economy. However, the specific practices employed by the Muslim raiders in Mindanao, including the deceptive methods and extreme physical abuse to extinguish their activities, is particularly brutal. The legacy of these raids has had long-lasting effects on the region. The trauma inflicted on the non-Muslim communities, particularly the Christianized Filipino populations, created deep ethnic and religious divides that continue to influence relations between Muslim and the non-Muslim groups in Mindanao. The slave raiding activities also contributed to the Moro resistance against Spanish colonization, as the Moro Sultanates fought to preserve their sovereignty and the practice of slavery. This resistance, fueled by the brutal history of slave raids, would later evolve into the modern-day conflicts in Mindanao, where tensions between ethnic and religious groups remain. In conclusion, the slave raiding activities of Muslim tribes in southern Mindanao were a brutal and integral part of the region's history, driven by economic, political, and social motivations. These raids were characterized by deception, extreme violence, and the dehumanization of the captives. The practice, although legally accepted at that time, left a lasting legacy of division and conflict in the region. Understanding this history is crucial to grasping the complex socio-political landscape of Mindanao and the ongoing struggles in the southern Philippines.